The worst product I've ever reviewed.
All right, so this is the NymN AI pin. It is a brand new product and a really, really interesting form factor
So dumb.
of an ultra futuristic wearable computer. So in a time of all these crazy gadgets and Vision Pro and wearable glasses, it's so sick.
Ain't nobody talking about Vision Pro anymore, huh? That thing just came and went, or what? Does anyone know? Has anyone seen it yet in real life? I've yet to see one.
That we get so many genuinely new first generation products like this to give a shot. Unfortunately, it's also the new worst product I think I've ever reviewed in its current state.
Lol.
There's just so many things
I'm watching you on
bad
one.
about it. It's so bad, in fact, that I think it's actually kind of distracting to like understand what the point of the device is as we go through it. So I'm gonna have to separate it out for this video. First, I'm gonna tell you what it is and what it's supposed to do, and then I'll tell you what my experience has actually been.
It releases in EU in summer. Oh. All right. So many companies try to replace the smartphone, and it's just not gonna happen.
So this thing is a small wearable computer with an AI inside that can.
I'm not getting a Vision Pro.
It's about the size of a large watch. It has a camera and a microphone and can interact with the world around you. But in case you
Chai,
can't
want a
use that as
pistachio?
input, there's also a touchpad and a projector inside with this super new style of gesture control with the projection on your hand. It costs $700 plus a $24 a month subscription plan for the data that comes with it and all the services and all the online storage. But yeah, $700 plus a subscription. It's already a fun start. But so one of the big things off the top is this does not pair to your smartphone at all. This is its own standalone device with its own internet connection, with its own phone number. And so this little AI assistant just goes everywhere with you. It's always
Wait, that would have been a smart idea. You make it pair with your phone. That way you get all the computing and all the internet, everything. And the only thing this thing does is like a fancy controller.
connected. And that's, you can choose how much or how little to use it alongside your smartphone. So, you know, on its face, maybe that's
It would be
kind of
more
a cool
timeless that way
idea,
too.
At least, like the idea is you talk to it like a person.
That'll be like selling
It
a
answers
monitor instead of a
questions.
computer.
It gives you historical facts or personalized recommendations, or helps you out with things like brainstorming or remembering things. It can make phone calls and send text messages.
Or watch.
A ton of stuff. The unfortunate reality, though, is this thing is too much of a pain to use to actually want to do most of that stuff alongside your phone. But we'll get there.
But the goal is to
Alright, let me
replace the
actually
smartphone. Yeah, I know. I understand. They don't want you to use your phone anymore. This is their phone, but it's just stupid, man. Good luck.
Start with the hardware. This little thing, the build of this thing is actually impressive. Like genuinely, I think if you're looking for a reason to feel like you're not getting ripped off, the hardware packaging actually kind of accomplishes that. Like this pin is solid. It's aluminum. It's dense feeling. There's three colors actually. There's all matte black, which is the cheapest one, or for $100 more, you can get white or this black and silver one that I'm using. And then there's a lot of sensors packed up there. There's a camera, there's microphones, there's lights, there's a tiny
Yo,
class
Ludia,
2
55
laser
months, welcome back.
projector. So this whole thing is like really densely packed. And then the magnets also that connect everything are super strong. So the back of this pin is called a booster. It's another battery. So it's got its own internal battery, but then once you attach it to your clothes, it cleverly, through your clothes, magnetizes there, makes a nice sound when you do, and that's how you get it attached. So you get two of these boosters, and since there's the internal battery, you can literally hot swap between them so the thing stays alive. Very clever. And then it also comes with this extremely well-made and also very, very reflective charging case. So you can pop it in there, or just your battery in there, keep it topped off. That charges via USB Type-C. This thing is nice. And it also comes a lot.
Okay. Yo, check it out now.
Okay, I want you to forget about the smartphone in your pocket for a second. Like, just for a minute, just pretend.
What do you do if you're at the beach? You clamp it to your nipple or something?
Exists, ignore it, right? This little pin can do a lot of stuff and is very helpful. So again, think of this thing as an AI assistant that's like by your side all the time with you. So you can ask it things. It doesn't have a wake word. It only turns the mic on and listens when you touch it. So you can go, how tall is the Empire State Building? And then when you let go, it starts sending that query off to the crowd.
The Empire State Building is 1,454 feet tall to the tip.
The cloud, and then gets you an answer, which is great. And it also is multimodal. Wow. So that means it can look at the camera and see things and interact with the world around you. So look and tell me what you see. So it'll scan the room. use the cloud again. That little noise was it taking a little image, sending that image to the cloud, analyzing it, getting it back, then deciding what to tell me.
You are sitting in front of a camera and a laptop. The camera is on a tripod and pointed at you.
Wait, this could be useful for blind people though, I guess.
Laptop is open and you are looking at it. There are 3 pictures of dogs on the wall behind you. There is a window to the left of the camera. There is a boom mic on the table in front of you. There is a red carpet on the floor.
Hey, that is pretty neat. It's just not very practical. Like, there's very few situations where you'd need this feature, except, like I said, if you're blind. But it is cool.
Great. The camera can also take pictures or up to 15-second videos, which it auto-uploads while charging. It can also remember things.
Your smartphone can do the same? Well, yeah, you can take a photo with your smartphone and send that to, like, ChatGPT to get the same response. It's maybe what it's doing even. Yes.
And all these things will show up in the NymN Center. So it's like this online web portal for all things connected to the pin. There's no app, it's just a website. So there you can see a whole history of
there's
who
a
you've
naked
called
man
and
in front of
texted
you.
and what you've listened
He's
to.
holding
and
an
what
elephant's
answers it gave
trunk.
to your most
Oh,
recent
wait.
requests, and all the things you told it to remember. It is pretty well rounded. I think probably its best tech demo feature though is the translate back and forth. You got a 2-finger gesture. You can go, ¿Dónde está la biblioteca?
See.
Where's the library?
So it auto-detects the language, translates it to English, and the person who speaks back can translate back, as long as you hold down the pin and listen to them. Pretty cool. This is all voice stuff though, so if at any point you're in a loud area or a very private area and you don't want to interact out loud with your voice, that's where this projector comes in. So it seems crazy, but you activate it like that, and then you just hold your finger out, your whole palm, and it becomes a projector screen for the laser projector built into the pin. So it takes a little practice, but eventually you get used to holding your hand up in just the right spot. And then the UI gets projected in this green 720p mini screen on you.
Actually, it looks a bit uncomfortable to sit like this all the time. This is not a very natural pose. Most people on their phones sit a bit more relaxed, right? With their arms further down like this. This one you sort of have to...
hand. So
But I guess
basically
the idea is you're not going to sit like this for a long time. It's like quick shortcuts.
use your hand, try to be as flat as possible, and then to interact with it, there are some movement gestures. So there's a time of flight sensor that keeps track of movement, and you move your hand around kind of like rolling a marble around in your hand to select something, then pinch to select. You can then make a fist to go back, and then you literally push forward to move deeper into a menu. So this is like a 3D UI you have to learn. This is obviously very brand new for people, but I think to be fair, it is pretty intuitive.
I thought you
think
would
if
like
get a
click
quick
stuff
60-second
on your
lesson,
hand. That
you
seems like it
kind
would
of
be a
already
lot
have learned
faster.
all the things you need.
Couldn't they have
when
done
you first
that?
Connect the booster to the pin, you can unlock it, and unlocking it with my pin is like this move your hand through space to select the numbers thing. It's literally like moving back and forth through a Rolodex of real numbers. So it's one of those like borderline magic things where the first time you see it, you kind of just get it and it clicks, even if it is a little fidgety and a little bit inaccurate and kind of slow.
Hey, thank you, Hamoudi Bins, Water Polo, and Skanked Elf the Gay for your resubs. Someone asked me to name 2 structures that hold water. I said, well, damn.
But that gets us into the review.
Hey, okay, now we gonna check out this thing,
So
yo.
unfortunately, this thing is bad at almost everything it does, basically all the time. Where do I even start? So I guess first of all, okay, it's supposed to just answer questions, right?
Take it, you dirty blue
Can
Sonic.
kind of do that sometimes, but 1, it's often slow because most of these requests go to the cloud and come back and there's just a long wait. And 2, it's often wrong because AI still can hallucinate and there are still issues with it just not understanding correctly or just saying the wrong thing. And that's not even mentioning server timeouts if you have a poor internet connection, which happens to me all the time in this studio. So when they do most of the demos, like on their websites and in their videos, they'll ask a question and then they'll let go and keep talking to fill the silence. So it's not awkward as you wait for an answer and realize how long it is. But even on this fast studio Wi-Fi here, who designed the Washington Monument?
Finding designer. The Washington Monument was designed by Robert Mills, a prominent 19th century American architect from South Carolina. The construction was eventually completed by
Okay.
Thomas.
So you can just hold your hand up to put your answer on your hand and interrupt that it's talking so much. But even that was like a pretty good performance for the AI pin in ideal fast Wi-Fi conditions. But there are many times when I feel like it's way slower, and it seems like it goes to the internet for almost everything. I mean, there's a few queries I guess might be local, like what time is it?
11:42 a.m.
Like, that's pretty
Wow.
fast. If I ask the battery life, it can tell me that pretty fast. But it feels like basically everything else is just shoveling it off to the cloud, not computing on the device, and it takes a while. But it's also just wrong all the time. Like, I remember asking it days before the solar eclipse when the next eclipse was, and it said 2044. I asked it, what's some good Asian food in the area? And over again, it thought I said, what's the best ash for some reason? When is the next Nets game?
Finding next Nets game. The next Brooklyn Nets game is on Sunday, April 14th, but no specific opponent or location is provided.
Good luck.
It says it's the 76ers, so that's kind of weird.
Well, how can it be so bad? I don't understand which software they're using for this.
What's the traffic to the Empire State Building from here?
Finding directions. Use the voice command feature of AI Pin to ask for traffic information to the Empire State Building, and it will provide you with the details you need.
I did? This stuff happens all the time. But then, speaking of battery life, really bad and inconsistent, which is annoying. So it's already kind of bad enough that you have another device that you also have to charge every single day. But with this, it's actually more than that. You have to constantly babysit the battery and swap out boosters and charge this thing and keep it charged multiple times per day. So like I said before, you get 2 of these things that come with it. And I've had a pin nuke through the entire booster battery in 2 hours while not really doing much of anything. I've also had it last like 4 hours while doing a whole bunch of, photos and videos and requests and laser stuff. And it's also just like constantly warm the whole time.
Ugh.
Just all the time, which is a little bit concerning. I'll also say multiple times in various situations, I've had it just overheat.
Wonder how many funds they raised for this.
For seemingly no reason, and tell me to wait a while.
There's some
for it to
investor
cool
guy
down.
out there watching this
The heat
video.
problem is also amplified
hating
because
his life.
of the gap created by whatever fabric is between the booster and the product that it is actively inductively charging. It is a lot of very impressive engineering, but wireless charging is notoriously inefficient and loses energy via heat, and that's what's happening in here all the
People are
time.
hyping it?
Just the fact that it's
I
warm.
feel like a lot of, I don't know, I never got the impression most people were hype. It was neat, but, I don't know. At least in this channel, we looked at this thing before, and I think already back then people said, what's the point of this?
Just this warm puck on my chest all day was just enough to
It's a
never
neat little
quite
concept, it's
forget
just not
that I'm
practical
wearing it.
or
Well,
like-
that and the weight.
It's just not
Look,
there.
it's well made. Like I said, it's really impressive hardware, but it's just a little. I mean, you see that little sag? It's just a little too heavy. In the same
You
way
were
that
soying
Vision
over
Pro
it?
is just a bit too heavy.
Send me a clip of me soying over it, please.
When you're wearing the thing, you just want to make it as light as possible. It's why a lot of this
Humane
stuff
was
is made of
valued at
plastic. So when
$850
you decide
million
to go
in
aluminum
2023.
instead, yeah, it's just a little too heavy. I feel like Humane in a lot of their videos, they've got all these thick fabric.
Wait, what is this? Drama? I find it distasteful, almost unethical to say this when you have 18 million subscribers. Hard to explain why, but with great reach comes great responsibility. Potentially killing someone else's nascent, what is this? Project reeks of carelessness. Bro, what? He's a tech reviewer and he's reviewing tech. He can't always just be nice to it just because of, what is this? Bro, I'm sure there's a million tech YouTubers out there that are shitting on it way harder than Mark ever would anyway. So is that just an angry investor?
Bricks and like heavy jackets, so it doesn't really pull down and sag nearly as much. But if you wear some lighter weight materials like I do, especially when it gets warm outside, this is really going to start to be noticed. And yes, there are some optional accessories that are lighter weight, but you never quite forget about it. This pin cannot set a timer. This pin cannot set an alarm.
What?
This notification light they
That's
put up
some
at the corner
basic
here,
shit.
it's there and it works, but it is basically out of my peripheral, my field of view, so I almost never see it. And, they also chose this corner for the light, which means it's designed to be worn on this half of the body, which is fine, and you get used to it there, but that's also exactly where most seatbelts go in
Rip.
the US anyway, so not their fault, just another annoying thing about using it. The photos look pretty bad, and the videos look even worse. They're squarish in aspect ratio, very noisy, and they max out at 15 seconds. The hub that everything syncs with, for me, just randomly stops working, and I have to refresh it to get it to work again. The projector, as impressive as a technical achievement as it is, it's just not very readable. It's not particularly bright outdoors, and it gets dimmer the further from your hand it is because of physics. And unless I knew what those words were saying, I really can't read very much. And there are no apps. There just are no apps. There are, so when you first sign up with
That's titled the
your
video
Humane account,
pretty clickbaity.
you get to sync with 4 accounts. There are
Well, I mean, I guess, but it sounds like it is the worst product he's ever reviewed, so it's not a lie.
your Apple, Google, Microsoft.
What should he have
and
named
Tidal.
it?
So the first 3 are basically for
product is
contacts,
bad?
and then the last one,
I don't like
Tidal,
this
is
product?
the exclusive music partner. So there's no Uber access.
Kansas.
There's no Spotify access. There's no WhatsApp. There's no calendar, no Gmail, none of that stuff. It's just, it doesn't have, I can't book a flight. I can't buy something on Amazon. It just will not do any of that stuff that.
Check their stock value. What's
just
the
do on my
company?
phone.
Humane?
So I know I've said like a bunch of the downsides and the problems this device has, but I really genuinely think the biggest problem this pin is going to have is that smartphones are kind of OP. Like that's the number one thing I've reminded myself from the week of using this pin, trying to get it to do stuff, is that smartphones are not going anywhere anytime soon. And I think a lot of the comments online have already picked up on this, even without testing and using the pin, which is, okay, there seems like a lot of overlap between what this is and what a smartphone can do. But everything that this pin
Everything you
does,
can do,
a
I
modern
can do
smartphone
better.
does better and faster and easier and in higher quality and just better in every way. Like your smartphone obviously takes better pictures and videos and you can frame things more easily. Of course, a phone can call and text people more easily. You can use it in more places, loud places, private places. Use it with literally any outfit.
Wow.
Also a phone, like you can quickly
These things seem pretty neat. I should get one.
Google things. It's faster to message people back. And of course, it can email people and use all kinds of app experiences.
What the
Do
fuck?
you know what happens?
What was that hacks?
When you try to just send someone a picture from the AI pin. You already know how to do it on your phone. With the AI pin,
Samsung AI.
you take the picture, then you either try this with your voice or you pull up the picture, which is just a green 720p JPEG on your hand. I guess that's a good enough preview, sure. You go to send it, you pick your contact or type in the whole phone number with the gestures. Eventually you go to send and it has its own internet connection and it sends a link to view the picture in the Humane web portal. Like the difference in how easy, how frictionless that is here versus here, it's not even close. And there are honestly many times where I'd be trusting this pin. Like I'm reviewing it, I'm living that life, I'm using it, and I'd ask it something, and I would wait so long, and my phone would just be sitting right there where I could just pick it up and Google the answer, and the time it takes me to get hopefully the right answer on the pin. It's just, phones are OP. Look and tell me what this is. I'll just do this, I guess. Ah. It's a Cybertruck.
Photo is of a Cybertruck, an electric pickup truck produced by Tesla.
Nice.
Yep. Also, I gotta say, when I say phones are OP, like screens in your hand, so sick. Just for the last like 10% of any UI, like you can get almost all the way there with just your voice interaction, but let's say you call an Uber and you say, take me to the studio from an Uber, even if it could do that, which it can't, but let's say it could. And as you're waiting, you're like, I'm gonna just go grab a snack from this Starbucks on the corner. How do you adjust your pickup location with this? Just that friction of I could just do it in 2 seconds on my phone. Or buying something online is another one. I've seen a lot of demos where someone's like, plan me a trip to Europe, plan me an expedition. I don't even want to buy detergent online on this because I need to check all the ratings and the titles and make sure I'm ordering the right one. I do not trust that with just my voice. But I think most critically, for the AI assistant part, I actually love the idea of a virtual assistant that you can talk to like a human. Like this is something we've been chasing for years with Google Assistant and Siri and Alexa. And now with this new form factor of, a little AI in a box that can be with you everywhere, maybe that can deliver even better.
There's another one like this, right? It's called the Rabbit or some shit that's trying to do the same thing now. It's probably going to flop equally.
On that specific promise. But the thing
Meta
about
glasses
good
also?
assistant is it needs to know everything about you. That's even true with a
You
human
would?
assistant.
You guys are fucked
It needs
up.
to know your schedule. It needs to know where you go every day. It needs to know who
Rabbit
you
looks
talk
decent.
to, your preferences
What's I don't get Rabbit.
are.
It doesn't even have a
personally and for
display, that one,
products.
does
Like,
it?
It needs to know everything about you. And your smartphone already knows a lot of things about you. But this is a standalone device, that doesn't talk to your phone, and so it doesn't know any of the things
No
about
rabbit
you
ASCII,
that
please.
your phone knows. So just from that, it's already at such a massive disadvantage for the smartphone for being helpful. I mean, you can do what I did, fully immerse yourself for several days straight and tell it to remember everything and call people, text people from it, but it will always have that gap. And that's not even mentioning this. Like I said, it has its own phone number. And so if you text people and call people from this, yeah, it can summarize all of your messages from the day and all that stuff from these conversations, but it doesn't see any of these conversations. So if you're texting here,
Rabbit
this is not
R1.
the same thread. That gap is always going to be there. So I guess that begs the question, why didn't they just make this connect to your phone?
Right.
Everyone has a phone.
Right.
That's the question that I think a lot of people are wondering. And I think, this is my theory, but I think Humane wants this thing to eventually be a very powerful standalone device someday. And in order to get it to that future, they can't set the precedent now of connecting it to your phone, because then that means they have to remove that feature in the future, and they don't want to do that. So this device, as it exists today, is hamstrung by its ideal future version of itself. It's like
And
Vision Pro.
it's never going to get there because no one's buying this crap.
Like I talked about it in the Vision Pro review, it doesn't actually
Dark Souls
pair
soon,
to your
yes.
iPhone in any way. It's its own standalone computer. And of course, Apple sees down the road that could just be like a little pair of smart glasses. You don't need an iPhone to use that. But now, today, this thing is a victim of its future ambition.
Horse!
It was really hard to come up with a title for this video. But I will say, at one point, my working title for this was, this product is either the dumbest thing ever, or I'm an idiot. Because yes, it's really, 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 really bad now. But every once in a while, and I mean a while, I would use it and it would do exactly what it's supposed to do quickly, and I'd get it. And I'd really feel like that's how it's supposed to feel. And then I'd do another request and it would remind me of reality. But here's an example, right? I've said 1,000 times, like, my best ideas, golden rule, they always show up when I can't write them down. Like when I'm about to fall asleep or I'm in the shower
True.
or driving, right? So I'm using the pin, I'm driving to the studio, and I have an idea. I'm not trying to write it down on my phone while driving or pull over, but I had the pin, so I'm driving, and I just remind me of this cool ABC outro idea for the Humane review.
Right.
And I just kept driving.
It's kind of neat.
And it wrote
There's
it down.
another product that's coming out now that's like this as well. It's a digital note taker. A small device you carry around and you can just talk into it and it automatically transcribes what you're saying into text. And that's all it does. It's maybe.
Oh, and it's
Like a phone? Yeah. Yes, like a phone. But that's the only... You can't... Well, yeah, maybe you can with your phone. I don't know. The idea is it's literally just one button. Click. Right. You take it up, click, done. Maybe you can set up your phone to do that.
saved it.
Saving memory.
And when I go check the Humane,
ABC outro idea for the Humane review has been
And it's like something, compared to your phone, maybe you'd have that with you all the time. Maybe this is something you'd leave on your office desk and it would just lie there and I don't fucking know. I'm not saying it's super useful, but I can see some people liking a product like that.
voice is kind of annoying. But now that's up in the Humane AI Center, so when I arrive at the studio, that thing that I told it to remember is sitting there waiting
Like an
for me.
Apple Watch.
That was nice. Or the other thing, the unique first-person videos. I could put it in the center of my chest and take videos. I would never want to distract myself while driving, taking a video. But, even though the quality's not great, that's the most frictionless version of that along with smart glasses. That's great. And I think number one on top of all of this is, if you ask me, like, who should buy this device right now? I mean, nobody should buy this device right now. But if there's one person who would most consider it, it's the person that wants to spend as little time as possible with a screen in their hands. Like, as little time as possible on their phone. That's me sometimes. I don't want to doom scroll the second I pull my phone out of my pocket. For that person, if they want that at the expense of everything else, this device represents just a glimmer of hope for that future. Now, the problem, of course, is with this device.
I have an acquaintance, or I have someone that I know that one day announced on like Facebook, hey, so from now on, you can't message me on these apps and this social media. You can reach me with this phone number. Just call me. And they switched to one of those, like modern phones, but it's not a smartphone. Like, this is how I'm going to live life now. No distractions and stuff. Yeah, based. Sure. Fast forward like 6 months later, I see them scrolling on their iPhone.
Device, there's just so much more friction and fumbling and annoyance that comes with it that you don't want to do it, even though you would accomplish the goal of less screen time and living in the moment. But yeah, that's the issue with it.
E-ink
I literally had a
smartphones,
moment, like,
haven't
we
seen
did a shoot in Ohio the other day, which was like a travel day.
All right, it's really enough of this. There's a best of internet daily dotes. There's the new unusual memes. This thing looks insane.